Hello and welcome to Pop Culture Shark, a live stream about all things pop culture. I am Final Monkey,
And I'm Caleb.
and tonight we are going to discuss all the films, well, not all of them, but the films that sound interesting to us for 2023. There's a lot of movies coming out. Some sound good, some sound terrible. I think we could both agree that 2022 was a bit of a mixed bag. Um,
Honestly, unfortunately, ever since the COVID era, yeah.
yeah.
Um, Unfortunately, Endgame and Rise of Skywalker may not have just been the end of those franchises.
We'll talk about Rise of Skywalker here in a minute.
Oh, really?
but first, let's do our weekend checkup. Checkup. How are you doing, Caleb?
I'm doing good. I unfortunately I have a confession.
Uh
I have an addiction. I have become a degenerate Valorant player. I have gotten addicted to Valorant, and the worst part is I'm getting pretty good. That's
I
the
don't even
worst
know
part.
what that is.
Oh, you don't know
What?
Valorant? Okay.
No.
So Valorant is the Counter Strike style first person shooter that Riot made after League of Legends.
Okay.
So yeah, I've kind of gotten into that. Pretty much it's just been Valorant and Pokemon Violet all week for me, which I did beat Pokemon Violet. I had a lot of fun with it. Um, I don't know what people are talking about. I mean, I there are frame rate issues, so I know what people are talking about there, but I still think it's one of the best Pokemon games. I had a lot of fun with it. So um, yeah,
Cool.
not much other than that. Just been watching His Dark Materials. Haven't gotten around to Last of Us yet. I do want to watch that because I actually hear it's pretty good. I love that we're getting to the point where like video game adaptations are good to the point where the Game Awards necessitates an adaptations category,
Yeah.
which is great. But yeah, overall, just doing good, working, vibing with Valorant. How are you doing?
Doing pretty good. We finally got around to checking out one of my oldest son's gifts from Christmas, that being Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker saga. Um, I have mixed feelings about this game.
So I was addicted to that game. I love that game, and that game I think is the game that destroyed my PS4.
So we've got it on the Switch, and it's about to kill the Switch. It is, it is freezing up nonstop.
Yeah.
We have had so many glitches, mostly with when we got to the sequel trilogy. The game just went berserk. BB-8 crashes the game all the time. Uh, it should not have been released in this state. It's
No,
bad.
unfortunately, I think it was one of those games that like I'm sure it runs.
I think I lost you there for one moment. Uh-oh. We're having a little technical difficulties with Caleb here. Um, but yeah, it could just be that I'm running it on the Switch that is causing the issues. Um, so I don't know if Caleb's going to try to log back on or if he can hear me. It could be some internet issues on my side. I know my internet's. Oh, I hear him clicking now. Are you back? Oh, I heard him clicking and then he went away. All right, he will jump back in here in just a moment. But yeah, the Lego Skywalker Saga, the issues on the Switch have just been atrocious. Characters appear where they're not supposed to be. They'll just blink in and out of existence. Um, if BB-8 tries to fly any ship, it will crash and it will lock up. Um, it's just I don't know. I mean, we bought it for a discount on the eShop, so I didn't feel as bad. But I can't imagine paying $60 for this game and having to deal with such a a broken game. It was kind of ridiculous. Um, and so some of the other weird stuff is the choices they made for what gets a level and what doesn't get a level. I don't know what they were thinking. And I'll talk more about this once Caleb hops back on. Um, but we do have a big show tonight. We are going to be talking about a lot of different movies. Um, some of them I'm nervous about. Oh, I think Caleb is back. Let me check. There he is.
No
All
idea
right.
what happened.
Yeah, you were talking also and just stopped. So I've been kind of holding down the fort while you were gone.
Gotcha. I believe you were talking about Lego Star Wars.
Yeah.
No. It's one of. I think it's one of those games that should not have. I'm sure it runs great on next gen hardware.
Oh, I'm
And
sure. Yeah, so I was just mentioning that I can't imagine paying $60 for this game. We bought it like on sale on the eShop, and we got like the deluxe edition with a bunch of the DLC.
I paid $60 for that game.
Yeah, it's
and it killed my PS4.
It's I don't know if you had this problem, but like when your ship is trying to land, your characters will all be down on the planet walking around, like it loads them before the ships even land. Just a lot of weird visual glitches.
No, that's not a problem that I dealt with. I dealt with if there was too much going on the screen at the same time, then it would just freeze up. That's what I mainly dealt with.
A lot of ours is if you go through a door, it'll take a few seconds for the next section to load. If we both went through a door at the same time, the whole game would crash. Like it just didn't know what to do. So it's yeah. So
unfortunately, whenever it comes to Switch games, I just stick with first party.
Yeah, I get it. That was it was mainly because it was on sale, and I didn't want to because the PlayStation's in my son's room, so I was like, I don't want to go in there. I'd rather play the Switch that's in the living room. So choices were made, but the other weird thing is what they chose to make into a level and what they didn't choose is weird. I don't know if you noticed that, but you didn't get to fight a Wampa. They didn't have that. I don't think that was in the other game either. But then there's a level where you're finding clothes for Finn, and it's like I'd rather go fight a Wampa. Why are you choosing this over a Wampa level or whatever?
So there were definitely because they kept it pretty even. I think it was like 6 missions per episode.
Right.
And they made for me the weirdest one was we did not get to partake in the Battle of Endor in space.
Right. Yeah, that was very weird. She's like, "Oh, here's a cutscene," and I was just like, "Oh." I mean, there are a ton of space battles in the game, a lot of flying levels.
Yeah.
And so I get why you're like, okay, we don't really need another flying level. We've already done a Death Star level, but still, very weird choices.
Yeah.
Some of the jokes are very funny in the game. Some of them are very weird. The characters that appear in the game, sometimes I'm like, why isn't that character here? Why is that one here? It's like we went to the cantina and there's a lot of cantina people missing. Just weird choices. And I get it. You already have 300 characters. You can't have everybody, but still, I'm just like, I'd really like to see Muff, Tack, and Cabe in the cantina or this or that or whatever, and I know that's me being a Star Wars nerd. And then lastly, had a lot of fun playing the original trilogy, had a lot of fun playing the prequel trilogy, and then the last third of the game just reminded me how much I hate the sequel trilogy.
So, and here's the thing. It's not just the hatred of the sequel trilogy. Cameron and I, we played through the whole game co-op, and we can agree that the last 3 episodes were not as good.
It's like they phoned it in. They're like, oh, we have to do these movies. Okay, we don't really care about these movies. Here we go.
So from what I remember, the best episodes, honestly, the best episodes were the best movies too. Revenge of the Sith and Return of the Jedi were fantastic. Honestly, A New Hope was great. Empire was not as good as I thought it would be. from what I
Yeah,
remember.
again, a lot of weird choices. But it is there are certain characters that are really fun to play as. Like I love playing as R2D2 for some reason. I don't know why. It's just so fun to watch him just beat up stuff and
So
um,
my favorite thing about the game was the combat with lightsabers. I mean, it felt like Devil May Cry. Like they made a combat system for that game.
yeah. So like I said, there's stuff I like about it, there's stuff it just reminds me like, oh yeah. And there's weird things in the sequel trilogy that they fixed in the cutscenes that were wrong in the movies. So I'm like, oh, so yeah, they should have done that in the movie. That's weird. So anyhow, Rise of Skywalker, or not Rise of Skywalker, Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga. It's an interesting mixed bag. So
Yeah. Unfortunately, I really enjoyed the game despite my technical experiences with it. But I do think that, unfortunately, I do think the complete saga is still the better one.
yeah, so my son was asking me which movie's worse, Last Jedi or Rise of Skywalker, and I was kind of torn. I was like, I
That
mean, Last Jedi has great moments, but it makes me angry. Rise of Skywalker is just incompetence all around, and so when we played through them again, I was like, oh yeah, Rise of Skywalker is definitely worse. This plot is terrible.
yes, yeah. I'm like I'm trying. I mean, did you even see it?
Yes, I ended up seeing it in theaters eventually. It was like a
Okay.
month after it had been out. Everybody's like, "Oh, you need to see the closure to the story at least," and it's okay. And then I saw it, and I was like, "This is terrible."
No, I'm like, okay, so what? And this has become another Star Wars stream. But oh man, what episode of the trilogy are we on now? Because that movie is an entire trilogy in one movie.
That's how I felt Last Jedi was. I thought Last Jedi was a trilogy, 3 movies in one. Um, so so yeah. I will say this about Rise of Skywalker. I explained my alternate ending to my son. He's like, "That's such a better ending," and I'm like, "I know." Where basically, and I think we've talked about this on the show before, but the fight between Rey and Palpatine, you should have had all the Sith ghosts show up, and then have
Mhm.
all the Force ghosts show up, and just have a massive battle,
Yeah.
and it would felt like the ending of the saga.
Mhm.
You're tying it back into the 3 trilogies, and then when you do that, you have Kylo Ren being like waiting for Vader to show up on the dark side, and then when he shows up on the light side, this is where Kylo Ren would have his moment of, "Oh, I'm on the wrong side. Grandpa was a good guy, not a bad guy."
Right. Yeah.
So I think it's just little things they set up in Force Awakens that they never followed up on that really hurt that trilogy.
Yeah. Yeah. And it honestly, it is not Last Jedi or Rise of Skywalker's fault for that. Um, Force Awakens was pure JJ bait.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. It was a
Um,
lot of I'm gonna set up all these mysteries and I'm out of here. You deal with them. And then he had to come back and he's like, "Oh, I don't know how to solve these mysteries. I just set them up."
yeah.
um, yeah, I mean, you have the whole thing about is Finn a Jedi or not a Jedi? Does he have Force abilities? You had Kylo Ren severely injured at the end of Force Awakens, which made me think, oh, he's going to slowly become like a Darth Vader type person as he keeps losing limbs and stuff. And they immediately dropped that the next movie. They immediately dropped that Finn was in a coma at the end of the first movie or
Mhm.
whatever. He's just fine, and it's just like, what is this?
Yeah.
All right, enough about Star Wars. We could bash the sequel trilogy all night, but that is not what our show is tonight. All right, so we're going to switch to the news. A lot happening this week. We don't even have all the news stories that we'd want to talk about. I think the biggest thing to break, and a lot of people have been talking about this, is Justin Roiland is out at Rick and Morty. He has been charged with some felony charges. So Adult Swim announced it's ending its association with Justin Roiland. Rick and Morty, though, will continue. Um, if you don't know, Justin Roiland voices Rick and voices Morty, and I know they list him as co-creator. He's really the creator of the show. He made a short cartoon called Doc and Marty, a spoof of Back to the Future, which was a very early Rick and Morty. And then Dan Harmon came in and fleshed it out and became the co-creator. But I mean, this is really Justin Roiland's show. Um, so this is a huge loss to the show. I don't know. Are you a Rick and Morty guy?
I have not seen a single episode.
Okay.
I considered it because I am such a Community fan, but I think by the time I was going to give it a try, I was just kind of sick of hearing about it.
That's the thing I find is sometimes not everybody, but there are parts of the internet that take things to an extreme, and sort of like these Rick and Morty super fans that just kind of ruin it for everybody. I think you saw this when they released that special sauce at McDonald's and just videos of people going crazy and stuff.
And Pickle Rick.
Yeah. I find the show a mixed bag. Sometimes it's very good. There are some episodes that are simply incredible, and then there's other episodes that I'm like, this is terrible. So it just depends. I think the show. The thing is, he's the creator and he's the voice, but he's not like the main writer anymore. There's other writers, but I don't feel like the show will ever be the same after this. We actually saw this happen before, and it's probably before Caleb was born. Yeah, it definitely was before Caleb was born. With Ren and Stimpy, they fired the creator and voice of Ren and Stimpy, and the show did not last much longer after that. So I know they're already committed to like 3 more seasons or something. And I think I heard, don't quote me on this, that Dan Harmon has a contract where he could not be fired. I think that was his deal with Adult Swim. But I've seen contracts like that before where they still fired somebody. And I'm blanking on his name. Bill O'Reilly on Fox News had a deal like that. They still fired him. So, if they really, really want to get rid of somebody, they will. But I think Dan Harmon's cleaned up a lot of his act, so I don't foresee that happening. But yeah, I'll be curious to see what Rick and Morty looks like going forward.
Yeah, we're getting Aqua Teen Hunger Force back because of this, though. That's fun.
I don't know if that's directly because of this. They did have a movie special come out on DVD. It hasn't hit Adult Swim yet, so it's been selling in like a Walmart and stuff. So I think the sales of that probably justified it coming back, which is good because, well, actually, I like Aqua Teen Hunger Force, but Venture Brothers has a similar special coming out, and I think Venture Brothers is far, far superior to Rick and Morty. So that show was unfortunately canceled. So hopefully this will give it a chance to come back in some form going forward. So I think that's all we got to say about Justin Roiland.
Yep.
So let's move on to something we actually like. TMNT. So I'm going to try to say all this without spoiling too much. However, there will be some spoilers, mild spoilers for The Last Ronin. So let me throw up our spoiler banner. Give me 1 second. As the computer decides to freeze at that moment. That's not what I wanted. Let me try it again. Nope. Let's see. One more try. Here we go.
We're getting there.
There we go. That's what I wanted. All right. So Last Ronin is a TMNT series set in the future about the last member of the TMNT that's still alive on a mission to avenge his brothers. So I'll be vague on which turtle that is.
I don't even know which turtle it is.
So that's a big part of the story. At the end of the story, now this is the spoiler, it is shown that there are 4 new baby mutant turtles being raised. So there is a new series called, I think it's called Last Ronin: The Lost Years, that is showing flashbacks of the Last Ronin, but it's also a flash forward showing these four turtles growing up and telling their story. So we finally got some information on the four new turtles. So let me pull up this image of the turtles. So the designs look very much like Rise of the TMNT. You've got the one turtle, looks like a big snapping turtle. He's a lot bigger. You got one, it's like one of the slider, what do they call it? Red slider turtles, I believe. So yeah, very different designs.
They are all turtles.
They definitely are turtles. And their names are, let me find it, because I sent it to you in the chat.
I'm trying to remember, they were kind of,
it's like Uno,
they were
Odin.
Eastern, yeah.
Yeah, it's Uno, Odin, Moha, and Yi. And what those names translate to is they're all one in different languages. So Uno, Odin, Moha, Yi. An interesting choice. You know, I would love if they kept the whole painter thing going.
Or maybe like a different, like, you know, instead of, you know, Italian, you know, these are our, you know, Hispanic or Brazilian.
Yeah. So interesting choice. I'm very excited to see where this could go. Exciting to see what kind of villains they'll be facing. You know, they've tried telling future stories in the past, which have been a mixed bag. Well, fast forward, the cartoon was not super great, but you know, I'll be curious to see what comes of this.
Oh man, you know what? If I can't think of the character's name. What was it?
Talk about Bishop or Stockman or
Cody.
Cody Jones. No,
if Cody Jones shows up,
he will not show up because I've read Last Ronin. There is no Cody Jones. There is some other similar characters, but there is no Cody Jones. So yeah, I'm very excited for this. You know, if these catch on, maybe we'll get a new cartoon about these new guys, or these could be girls. I don't know. But I'll be very curious to see. I haven't read the issue. I'm sure there are spoilers out there that give more details about these characters.
So is the first issue out yet, or
I think it came out last Wednesday, and I haven't read anything about it yet. So, but yeah, this is exciting. This is like one of the most popular series at IDW. It's the Last Ronin books. It was a huge hit for them last year. Like, you know, on the bestsellers list and stuff, and it's still like one of Amazon's bestsellers. So cool deal. All right. Next, this will be one of your news stories.
Yeah.
Let me get that off the screen. And I hope I spelled right. I did not. It's Mighty, isn't it?
Yeah.
Let me fix it.
Yep. So it was announced. The newest season of Legends of Vox Machina is out now, and to commemorate that, they actually announced that Mighty 9 is going to be next, which is awesome. Mighty 9, if you don't know, is the second campaign that they did after they finished Vox Machina on Critical Role. I like the Mighty 9 better. It's cool because the thing is with Vox Machina, they started that campaign off screen, which, you know, is fine, but they were all kind of, other than Liam and Matt Mercer, everyone else was kind of new to Dungeons and Dragons. So by campaign 2, they were all, you know, super into it. They got better at character creation. They got better at storytelling. So overall, I think campaign 2 is actually better, which I'm hoping. And I'm not saying that Legend of Vox Machina is a bad show, because it's not. It's a great show. But it gives me hope that the Mighty 9 animated series will be even better. because its source material was better. So yeah, very exciting. I am, for all of you out there, I am a Ford and Jester shipper. So if you know where my loyalties lie, but yeah, I'm super excited for this. I am actually wondering if they are going to develop this side by side with Legend of Vox Machina, or if they're gonna finish Vox Machina before they start on this. Because I think they have like 3 or 4 more story arcs in Vox Machina.
So I know nothing about this. Is this like a different universe, or is this
Yeah,
the same universe? Like,
same universe set like 20 years later, and
okay,
they don't reference the other characters a whole lot.
okay,
So it's what Matthew Mercer has created Exandria and Wildmounts and all that. So he sets everything in his world, but like it's enough of a time jump that they don't really bring up the Vox Machina characters a whole bunch. There is one character from Vox Machina that is super important. And the same thing has been happening in Bell's Hells, which is the third campaign that they are currently doing, as they brought someone back from Vox Machina. So that's what I'm wondering is I feel like they should finish off Vox Machina before they get into Mighty Nine, because you may have a character show up that's super important. You're like, oh wow, who's this character? Because they haven't shown up in Vox Machina yet. So
very cool.
Yeah, but I'm super excited.
Cool. All right, and we're trying to go through this a little fast just because we got a lot to get over.
Yep.
We had a classic game come to the Switch this week.
Yes.
That is GoldenEye is back.
Yep, Switch and Xbox. But that's great. I always forget about that.
Yeah.
But yes, it's super exciting. And I wanted to mention this just because I think it's super important. You are very much a Time Splitters 2 guy, and I am a Perfect Dark guy.
I love Perfect Dark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's important that we respect our elders, and whenever they return with a stable frame rate, we should celebrate it. I've played this on Xbox Game Pass. It is phenomenal. It's got a stable frame rate and multiplayer. I can tell what's going on. It's great.
Yeah, I haven't got a chance to check this out yet because I've been playing Lego Star Wars, but we spent so many hours and hours, so many evenings playing this multiplayer when I was a teenager. I mean, this was our party game. We'd all come over and play GoldenEye. So yeah, I'm very excited that this is back, and I'll get to experience with my kids. So that is awesome. Hopefully, we will get Perfect Dark also.
They are coming out with, so Perfect Dark was already re-released on Xbox, and it's fantastic. I do know that we are getting a third Perfect Dark game at some point. They did announce it.
Yeah, so we'll see. I know the Perfect Dark Zero is a bit of a mixed bag, so we'll see how this next one is.
It's not as bad as people say, but it's not phenomenal.
Right. All right. And finally, our last news story is the latest X-Men crossover is called Sins of Sinister. So we're going to very briefly, I mean, this is actually a lot to go over, but we will very briefly talk about this. A few years back, Jonathan Hickman relaunched X-Men with a book called House of X, Powers of 10 that kind of reset or changed everything.
And it was the best.
Yeah, the story was amazing. And then within a year, it kind of all went off the tracks.
Yeah. I've never seen something go from a perfect 10 to a perfect 0 so fast.
Right. So just briefly, the X-Men and their villains all began living on the mutant island of Krakoa, and they teamed up with Mr. Sinister and figured out a way to resurrect mutants from the dead. So basically, the X-Men were unstoppable. And this all centered around the character of Myra McTaggart, longtime friend of the X-Men. We discovered that she was a mutant, and she basically had like a Groundhog Day like power that when she died, she got to relive her whole life over and basically create a new timeline. And in each timeline, the X-Men were wiped, or not the X-Men, but mutants as a whole were wiped out in some different way. And so she had been trying to figure out a way to fix it. So I have not read all these stories, because I'm kind of waiting to see how it ends to see if it's worth my time. So I know that when Hickman left, he did a story called Inferno, where it's revealed that Myra was evil and
Shocker.
she lost her powers and is now part robot. Again, I don't know all the details. Anyhow, so Hickman left, and the books have been kind of floundering for a while. But now I think they're back on track with a storyline that actually sounds pretty cool.
Oh, okay. I thought we were getting ready to dog on this because I don't know.
No. I think we're about to have a nice little trilogy or quadrilogy of a story where if you read House of X, Inferno, this, and whatever the next part is, you might actually have a decent story.
Okay. As long as I don't have to read what was it? Sword of X or X of Swords?
X of Swords. No, we pretend like that didn't happen. Basically, since the resurrections have started, Sinister has been sneaking his coding into the DNA of everybody to take control of people. But Hope, who is one of the mutants that takes part in the resurrection, part of the 5 that do the resurrections, she has subconsciously been preventing this from happening. So Sinister does like a very public attack on the council, and all this I'm getting from this Marvel article. You can read it for yourself if you know, because I'm probably gonna leave important parts out. But basically, Sinister kills like 5 members of the council and gets banished from Krakoa. But one of the people he kills is Hope. So now, when the resurrections are happening, the evil coding is getting into there. So now, like, he's taken over Xavier and Hope and Exodus and White Queen, all these people. And he has what he calls like the Myra engine, which is like all these clones of Myra that he secretly has. And so whenever his plan goes awry and the X-Men defeat him, he just activates a Myra and resets it and starts over. So he just keeps resetting. He calls them save points, and he's just resetting until he gets it right.
Wow.
So then you see where this is going.
Yeah.
So then the story starts jumping forward. Here's a year later. Here's 10 years later. Now he's if you remember during AVX, they resurrected Captain America.
Yep.
So now he's offering to let humans be resurrected. So now you see he's taking over, he takes over like J. Jonah Jameson and all these people. He starts taking over, and so you see that the evil is spreading across the whole world. And so like he makes the Avengers out to be the bad guys, like very publicly, because he's controlling them, and makes the X-Men defeat them very publicly. So now the X-Men are like the world's heroes. And so you see how Sinister, like the stories like jump forward like 10 years, 20 years, you see how he's conquering everything. So the issues are, though, that Storm has deleted herself from the archive, so she can't be resurrected, but it also means that Sinister cannot control her.
Mm-hmm.
So she's kind of like the person standing up against him. And so he's trying to kill her. And then you have the other, like, we'll call them Sinisters, like the Xavier is being influenced by Sinister, and the Emma influenced by Sinister. They're starting to act independently and plot against Sinister, like they're Sinisters. So they have like this civil war going on. So all this sounds pretty cool. I'm kind of like, okay, I think I'm on board for this. So of course, this is just issue 1. They could screw all this up, but it kind of seems like they're onto something, and it also feels like by the time this is over, the X-Men are going to be like, okay, resurrections are done. Because because obviously they'll probably reset this at the end, and then maybe this will lead to the end of Krakoa, the end of Resurrections, and then a return to status quo. So I'm hoping this is kind of the. I don't think this is the end of the Hickman story, but I think this is the start of the end.
So with that, there is one thing that disappoints me a little bit, and that's, I mean, I've had this issue from all the way back to House of X Powers of 10, is I have no idea why they trusted Sinister to begin with.
Right.
Like what one of my things is whenever like Apocalypse comes in, and he says something that's brilliant and makes me trust him, which is, all I ever wanted was for us to be the superior race.
Right.
So this is, and so there's that, but they never gave me a reason to trust Sinister.
Right.
And so this whole time, I'm just like, Sinister's been out of character. He hasn't tried anything. And now that he's actually tried something, I'm like, see,
Yeah.
why did you trust him to begin with?
Well, I think the issue was Xavier saw every Myra timeline, and they're going to die no matter what. So we might as well just trust everybody and see what happens this time.
Yeah, I guess.
I don't know. You have to kind of,
yeah,
I can't think of what the phrase is, but you have to kind of
suspend.
Yes, your disbeliefs with everything going on here. Yeah.
I wonder if this is what Hickman intended.
I don't know, because he set up all the stuff with the chimeras and stuff in House of X, Part 10, and so now you're seeing that stuff happen in the story. So he definitely laid the seeds for some of this, but we'll see.
I was definitely ready for Krakoa to be the bad guy.
Yeah, I feel like that's the other way you could go, because it makes sense that Krakoa feeds on mutant energy, and all the mutants right now are like, oh, let's reproduce and have as many as possible, and that would benefit Krakoa. He's going to be able to feed more and get stronger. So, anyhow,
which is the storyline for season 4 of Heroes.
I never made it that far. Yeah. R.I.P. Heroes. The writer strike killed that show. So,
yeah.
All right, so let's hop off of there and let's get to our main topic. We are taking a look at the films of 2023. And there is a list that has been floating around the internet, so we are going to use that just as
a base.
As a base. We don't have to stick with it. We don't have to go off of everything on there. But just it's a good list to start with.
Question: am I coming in all right? Because you're kind of going in and out. You sound like Ultron.
Oh no, you sound great. So it may be on my end. So that's
you know what, we've been doing good the past couple shows, so we were due for one of these.
Yeah, and it does show I do not have the strongest connection. Oh well, we'll just work with it. If I'm getting too bad, just let me know, and you can do more of the talking, and I'll just kind of shut up. But here's this list. Megan is already out.
I liked it.
So you did see this one? Okay,
I've seen it. I liked it.
Okay, cool.
I don't have much to say on it. It's really just next gen. It's better than the new Chucky that was like the same concept. So like, that's my review of it. It's better than the new Chucky.
And I think this one, I haven't seen it, but I think it had some commentary on kids and technology and how they connect with technology and stuff. So that's cool. It's definitely getting a sequel. So that's awesome. Next up, we have Cocaine Bear. I'm not even going to put the title on the screen because I don't know how YouTube will react to that. But this looks like one of those internet jokes that becomes a movie type deal, like Snakes on a Plane. So I don't know how well it will actually do, because Snakes on a Plane did not do that well.
Yeah. It's I'll let you know that the The connection is getting pretty bad.
Okay.
Like I'm not even sure what film we're talking about now.
Okay, so I'm going to drop out and jump back in, see if that fixes things. So you can talk about the
Okay.
next movie.
Yeah. Well, so what I'm gonna go ahead and do, because I know he has no interest in this one, I'm gonna move later on in the year. In December, there's a movie called Rebel Moon, which I'm kind of excited for. Um Pretty much genuinely excited for, actually. For those of you who don't know what Rebel Moon is, Rebel Moon is Zack Snyder. Boo, hiss, you can go ahead and throw your tomatoes at me. Um, but essentially, he had a script for a Star Wars movie, took it to Lucasfilm, and they turned him down. And so instead of wasting that script, he decided to change, your, names and faces and whatnot. And so he is coming out with his own film. I believe it's going to be released on Netflix. And I believe Batista is going to be in it. So that's always good. Because, Batista is the best actor to come out of WWE. Like, that's not even a question. So anyway, yeah, like super excited for that. I know Zack Snyder's hit or miss, but he makes cool looking movies. So if nothing else, we'll get a cool looking Star Wars movie out of this. So it'll definitely be an interesting watch, at least.
Okay, am I any clearer?
No, it's still happening, but we'll have to work through it.
Okay. All right, we'll figure this out. All right, let me share that again. Okay, let me.
Now we're better. Hold on. Yeah.
Okay, you hear me now?
Yes, I can. Cool. Yeah.
Okay.
We did it. So I went ahead and talked about Rebel Moon because I figured you wouldn't have much to say on that anyway. So.
Okay. And just if I start roboting again, just tell me in the private chat, and I'll let you kind of talk, and we'll figure this out.
Sure.
So I know you were talking about Batista there for a second. We didn't talk about in the news, but there's a rumor that Henry Cavill's out at Highlander.
Oh yeah.
I had saw a report that Batista was being considered for Kurgan in that movie. That's kind of. I don't know how I feel about that, but that's interesting. So, all right. Antman the Quantumania.
This is an important movie. If this movie does not hook me,
I did not spell that right either. Sorry.
Don't worry, it's not even a real word. You know what's funny? It's a stupid name, but this movie looks really dark.
So I read a lot of rumors, and I don't know what is true and what's not. One of the rumors I heard that this movie was incredible, and then when Iger saw it, he said, "Oh, it's not jokey enough." So they put a lot of jokes back into the movie.
Oh, good.
So they may have screwed it up. I don't know. That's just a rumor I have heard. We'll see.
Yeah. So this is a very important movie. This movie has to hook me, or I'm done.
I don't even know if I'm seeing this one in the theaters.
So I am, because, and everyone say it with me, the streak must be kept. The streak must be kept.
I knew something about the streak. I didn't know where you were going.
The streak must be kept. So yes, I will be seeing it in theaters. But if this movie doesn't hook me, we'll get. So if this movie doesn't hook me, then the movie that we're talking about later for me is the end of the MCU.
Agreed. I am right there with you. All right.
You want to go ahead and talk about it?
We'll get there.
Okay.
I'll try to go in order.
Sure.
Creed 3. You have anything to say about Creed?
I love the first one. I never saw the second one because the second one looked like a sequel to Rocky 4, and I don't like Rocky 4.
Oh no, I might have to kick you off the podcast. Or live stream. I love Rocky 4. Of course, I saw it when I was a kid. I have not seen any of the Creed movies, which is
Creed,
weird because I'm a big Rocky fan. You'd
yeah.
think I'd be all over these.
So my hot take, and I don't even know if this is a hot take. This might be a pretty cold take. I think the first Creed is the best Rocky movie.
Okay. I haven't seen it, so I can't tell you. I have heard that this movie's had some production issues. Sylvester Stallone was not invited back, and he was not happy about that.
That I didn't hear about that. I thought that he said that he didn't want to be a part of it.
Well, I know he was having some fights with the producer, the guy that owns the rights to Rocky. So they're having some financial fights behind the scenes. So I don't know if they kill. This is just me speculating. I don't know if they're going to kill off Rocky's character off screen, which would be really dumb. So we'll see. This movie might be very controversial, or it might just be, they just ignore that Rocky existed and move on.
I'll give him one thing. Jonathan Majors is becoming the villain of the year.
Yeah. He looks pretty buff in this trailer. So
oh yeah. So this movie I think actually looks pretty good. I may watch Creed 2 just to see this one because this one seems like it has more to do with Adonis than the other one, because the other ones have been like, Adonis living up to his father, and then Adonis avenging his father while dealing with Rocky's old rival. Creed 3 seems to like, I don't know. I'm almost down with not having Rocky in this, just so that way we can get an Adonis-centered movie for once.
Well, I will say this: Rocky 3 is where Mickey dies. So if this is Creed 3, if we're following the pattern, that would be where Rocky dies.
Yeah.
I don't know. Moving on. Scream 6. I have not.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say I'm not a scary movie guy.
Yes.
But the first 2 Scream movies are pretty good, and then I kind of dropped off after that. That being said, this trailer looks pretty crazy.
Yeah. So here's the thing. I was actually not excited for this movie at all. So I am a big horror movie buff. And so my experience with the Scream movies, this first one is fantastic. The second one is actually, it was my least favorite. The third one I ironically love because it's a Scooby-Doo movie. The fourth one is my favorite. It's phenomenal. I love it. Scream 5 was not one of my favorites. It might be my least favorite. Because, I was just kind of, I know this movie series is all about meta, but it was all kind of samey. And even if they don't tell you, because the joke is they tell you who it is at the very beginning of the movie. But even if they didn't tell you, it was pretty obvious. And so I was just like, oh man, they're not going to do anything. What else is there to do with Scream? Because, they've done all this. Well, it looks like this movie's doing a lot different. So I'm actually very excited for this. Ghostface on Halloween in New York City. And Ghostface is packing heat.
Yeah.
He's shooting people now. I'm like, oh, let's go.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. Hit with it was a shotgun or whatever. Yeah.
So I'm excited for this, and I just realized they're releasing this on March 10th. Why didn't they release the Mario Brothers movie on March 10th? It would have made so much sense.
Yeah, I think the Mario movie got delayed at some point.
Okay, because
so that may have been the original plan. I don't know.
Okay, but I just noticed that.
Yeah, so I don't know if you've ever heard one of the plots they were considering for. I think it was either Scream 3 or 4.
It was for Scream 3, and it involved Stu, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, basically Stu would still be alive and in prison, and then influencing future killers from prison, like a cult of followers or something.
Yeah, that would have been cool, because I love Matthew Lillard.
My idea for a Scream sequel would be like there is a what's the name of their movie? Stab? Is that what it's called?
Stab. Yep.
there's like a stab convention, and so you have all these would-be killers or fans or whatever at the convention, and then someone starts killing all these would-be killers, and then at the end you find out it's Nev Campbell, that she's like, I'm just gonna kill anybody. It's gonna be the next Ghostface. I'm done with this.
So it wasn't that, but very similar in Scream 4 because by Scream 4 there are 10 stab movies, and they just started making stuff up.
Yeah.
Or no, 7 stab movies. There were 7, and so they have Stabathon every year on the anniversary.
Okay. Like I said, I haven't seen them, so they may have
Yeah.
already done some of these.
So I mean, it's similar but very different. Sydney has still not been the killer. I doubt she will be at this point, but
Yeah, I'm waiting for that to happen.
Yeah.
She has to at some point.
I thought so. I'm watching Scream 4, and I thought it was her the whole time, and then I actually like the twist better.
It'd be interesting if Scream 6, where they've very publicly said she's not in it, if she is in
that's the one.
this is the time.
I mean, it would make sense because of the revelation that we find out in Scream 5, but that's neither here nor there.
All right, so moving on, Shazam! Fury of the Gods.
So I'm gonna be honest, it's hard for me to care about this movie because I know it doesn't matter.
Exactly, and this will be our take on probably all the DC movies, that they're just going to reboot this in a year or two. So why would I waste my time?
Yeah, which is unfortunate because I love the first Shazam movie. I think is fantastic. It reminds me so much of the first Christopher Reeve Superman movie. It was just so much fun, and the fact that I don't care about the sequel is unfortunate for me.
And I don't think the trailers have looked good.
That's true. Well, they've looked so generic because I mean, I'm a DC guy. I couldn't tell you who the villains are.
Yeah, that, and it's like, why isn't Black Adam the villain of this film?
I know.
It is such a missed opportunity. Blame The Rock. All right. So moving on. John Wick Chapter 4.
There's never been a miss. I mean, we don't even have to talk about this. Like, they have not missed with a John Wick movie. It, like, if anything, it is going to be a great movie.
Yeah, I still haven't seen Part 3, which I need to fix.
Part 3 is my least favorite, but it's still so fun. The one thing that annoys me is they gave Part 3 a subtitle, and then John Wick Chapter 4 does not have a subtitle. So...
it's Parabellum or whatever.
Yeah. So we have John Wick Chapter 2, then John Wick Chapter 3, Parabellum, and now we have John Wick Chapter 4. One of these things is not like the others.
Yeah. Did you ever see Nobody?
I love Nobody.
Nobody is great. I just heard they're doing a sequel, so I'm very happy about that.
I am too. I didn't need a sequel to Nobody. Nobody could have just been a niche thing for me, but I love Bob Odenkirk so much that I'll take it.
And it's one of those movies. It's from the same producer where you go, well, this could be in the same universe. It might not. Who knows? Yeah. But it's a lot of fun.
I mean, in Nobody, they had a weird sort of coin currency, so that could be the same currency in the Continental. But yeah, John Wick Chapter 4. There has not been a miss yet, so I'm down.
All right. I feel like this is more you than me. Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves.
This looks so stupid, and I'm so excited for it. Okay. I mean, like this. I mean, if this is one of those like crappy B movies, I mean, that's all I could ask for. I'm so excited for this, but I accept that it looks stupid and it's going to be stupid, and that's all I want. Yeah. Really, this is because for those of you who have seen like the original Dungeons and Dragons movies, it's always like chosen ones and power and paladins and knights and all that. This is a bard, a druid, a thief, a monk. Like, these are the nobodies that you play as in Dungeons and Dragons, and they accidentally cause the end of the world. I mean, that's Dungeons and Dragons right there. So the worst part is it's going to be impossible to schedule for everybody to show up to the movie. That is a D&D joke for all you out there.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Okay. Moving on. Evil Dead Rise.
I love Evil Dead. I don't know how I feel about this.
Yeah, if so, the first three Evil Dead films are all very different tonally.
Yes.
The first one is a lot of gore, some pretty good scares in there, but it's mostly gore. I think Evil Dead 2 gets everything right, where it's
Evil
a
Dead
mix.
2 is funny.
It is a mix of fun and just silly, absurd stuff with the gore, with the terror. So I think that's what you should shoot for.
Mm.
And then Evil Dead 3 kind of loses the terror and it goes too far the other direction.
Yeah, it was an action movie. And then
they should have called it Medieval Dead. That was the proposed title. But anyhow.
Yeah. And then you have the Evil Dead, which is the remake, which I think is actually a really good remake. I like it, which is actually not a remake, but a sequel.
And I have not seen that. I just know it was a lot of torture porn, and that's not something I like.
It's not a lot of torture porn.
Maybe like cringe torture, I guess would be the word. Just like I didn't need to see that.
You can do a lot with a tree with CG.
Oh, don't talk about the tree. All right.
And then Ash versus Evil Dead, which is the show. I loved the show as well. So where's Ash in this movie? That's the big thing.
Yeah, I get that Bruce Campbell's like, I'm done. I don't want to do anymore. Blah blah blah. Then kill off his character and having like a force ghost that just shows up just for a couple scenes. Just like, oh hey, it's you opened the book again. Why y'all keep doing this? Here's some tips. And just his tips are terrible. Just something stupid.
Listen, just cut off your arm and attach a chainsaw. Things get so much easier after that.
Just go ahead and finish yourself. It'll be better.
Yeah.
Things are not going to get better here. So I don't know. There's a couple of... I like it when the Deadites mess with people.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of scenes of that in the trailer. So we'll see. It could be good. I don't know. I don't know. I like when the Deadites are taunting and just being jerks.
Yeah.
Oh, so speaking of Evil Dead, we're gonna get off topic for a second. I don't know if you ever read Freddy versus Jason versus Ash or anything about the comic book.
I've heard of it. I did not read it.
But they, in that comic book, basically say that Jason is a Deadite, and when you hear that, you're like, that makes so much sense.
That makes so much sense. Oh my god,
it explains why he can't die and everything, So, anyhow, just want to throw that fun little fact out there.
That is so. My mind is blown.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, you could say, oh well, Pamela Voorhees used the Book of the Dead to bring her son back, and yeah, it makes perfect sense. You're like, oh, yep, that makes sense. So. Next, probably the biggest movie of the year, or at least top 3, Super Mario Brothers movie. I don't know if you saw the commercial that dropped today.
No, I didn't.
You get to hear Donkey Kong's voice. So
how is it?
I mean, it's Seth Rogen, but he sound okay.
Okay. I mean, like, is it Seth Rogen trying to do a voice, or is it Seth Rogen?
No, I mean he wasn't doing the stupid laugh or the high voice or whatever, but he was just kind of a tough guy voice.
Sure, yeah,
fine. I won't spoil too much of the commercial, but if you go to Illumination's channel, it is called Super Mario Brothers Smash. So, if you saw the Donkey Kong scene, they were about to fight. So yeah, it's very much a take on Smash Brothers. I still have. I'm trying to get my hopes too high for this film because some of the trailers look like, oh, it's just Mario doing a level, or it just look like they just animated a level, and it's just kind of like, I don't want that, especially with a lot of modern games having cutscenes, and some of the cutscenes have been getting really good. Like Mario Odyssey has some great cutscenes, and Smash Brothers. I don't remember which one had all the movie stuff. I think it was the Wii one or one of them. Yeah,
it was Brawl.
So yeah, I'm just
So
hopeful this movie's good.
yeah. So while you were talking, I went ahead. It's only 30 seconds, so I went ahead and watched it. His voice is fine. I like it.
Yeah,
And oh my gosh, the cat suit. I'm so excited.
yeah, and Chris Pratt did not sound too bad when he got the cat suit.
Yeah.
Him being too big and silly cat voices and stuff. I think Chris Pratt will be fine once we get used to it.
Yeah.
We've gotten so used to what's his name, Charlie Martinet, that we
Hmm.
forget the old Mario cartoons. He had a different voice. It's just we've gotten used to the Mario 64 voice for lack of a better term.
Hmm.
That's just what we have in our heads. So, all right, let's talk about one that's not on the list. Let's talk about two of them that are not on the list. Renfield looks fun. Basically, this is the story of Dracula's servant Renfield, who Dracula has given a little bit of powers and promises to one day make him a vampire if he'll be his servant and like bring him victims and stuff. And this has been going on for, I don't know, I would assume 100 years, but it's like he's getting sick of it and he doesn't know how to break the relationship. And
it's what is it? Nicholas Holt? Is that who it
I
is?
think that's his name, and Aquafina's in it, and some guy named
Uh,
Nicolas Cage is in it. I don't know, um, but yeah, this looks like a lot of fun. This looks like Nicolas Cage when he's having fun. We haven't gotten one of those wild performances from him in a while.
oh wow! I didn't realize this was a Chris McKay movie.
And
He
what did
he
what
he.
did he
So
do?
his big thing was the Lego Batman movie.
Yeah, yeah. So
And he was a writer on Robot Chicken.
okay.
He did Robot Chicken Star Wars like a whole lot.
The only thing that's giving me pause is the action scenes where it's like turning into like a superhero movie. Um, so I don't. I'd rather just have a movie about their relationship. So I don't know about how I feel about the action scenes, but we'll see. It could be fun. We'll see how balanced it is.
It's Morbin time.
Yeah, yeah, we'll see. Another one. I don't know if you've heard about this one. 65. Have you seen
Yes, I
the trailers
have.
for that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I actually saw the trailer. Like it was whenever the trailer first came out, and it was a just a YouTube ad, and it interested me at least. Um, and it still interests me. It looks cool.
Yeah, so basically, this is Adam Driver landing on an alien planet full of dinosaurs, only to realize that this is 65 million years ago on Earth. And him trying to survive a little girl. So he has all these laser guns and stuff, fight dinosaurs and stuff.
I mean, yeah, lasers and dinosaurs. What else do you want me to say?
Yeah, so I think if you didn't have Adam Driver in this, you could slap this on the Sci-Fi Channel. Is how I
Yes.
feel.
Yes, absolutely. So honestly, the reason I kept watching is because Adam Driver showed up in the trailer, and I'm like, you know what? Interesting. Oh, but Danny Elfman's doing the score. That's something.
Yeah, so I heard that the original script for this involved him having a silly dinosaur sidekick, and the test audiences hated it, so they got rid of the silly characters. So I kind of want to see that version.
Played by Chris Pratt.
It's like Yoshi running around with him riding on little Yoshi. Well, he's got the super scope cannon. Yeah. That'd be amazing.
Being hunted by the Duck Hunt dog.
Yeah, the dog just keeps laughing at him. One more movie that's not on the list. Cabin in the Woods is what that should say. I typed all these very fast. My apologies.
Cabin in the Woods?
No, I'm sorry. That is not the name of the movie.
I was like, are they making another one? I'm so excited.
Yeah, I love Cabin in the Woods.
If you can't tell, on this channel, not only does Caleb like horror, but we both like deconstructions of horror.
Oh yeah, and if you have seen Cabin in the Woods and you're like, yeah, it's pretty good, but you didn't quite grasp it, there are some great YouTube videos that break down what that movie's really about. I highly recommend them.
I like to think of it as a sequel to Billy Madison.
Okay.
And the guy from Billy Madison is in it. and after
Oh, okay, yeah, the villain. Yeah.
and so he went to go work for the organization.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some really great YouTube videos about how the I don't want to spoil cat. Well, that's a conversation for another day. Cabin in the Woods. If you haven't seen
Yeah,
Cabin in the Woods, please go watch Cabin in the Woods. It's amazing.
yeah. But Knock at the Cabin,
It's a M. Night Shyamalan movie starring Batista, who's in everything.
which you go ahead and you say that, and it's like, what are you on? What movie? Did you dream this movie? I don't. It sounds like a movie that doesn't exist.
Have you seen the trailers for this?
I have seen the trailers.
Okay. This is based on a book. So I went ahead and read the book spoilers because I was just like, what the heck is going on?
Does it have a Shyamalan twist at the end?
I mean, they may change it for the movie. Not really, but it is basically there is a gay couple with their daughter at a cabin, and all of a sudden Batista shows up, and he's like, "I'm sorry, but we have to make a choice." And so then 3 other people show up, and they basically take this family hostage and say that one of you have to die to stop the apocalypse, and they want the family to choose who is going to die, or else the world is going to end. Pretty wild concept. It's also one of those concepts where you're like, what?
You know what? That sounds like Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah, actually, this is Cabin in the Woods. Maybe this is the sequel to Cabin in the Woods.
I knew it. It's
or
like
a prequel. This is a prequel to it.
It's or maybe the demon gives him one more shot and like, hey, Batista, we need you to take care of what Billy Madison guy couldn't.
I don't know. M. Night Shyamalan, you never know what you're getting.
The Cabin cinematic universe. It takes place in the same universe as that one Community episode.
Yeah. So, M. Night Shyamalan.
For
it's
me,
sad that he got shoehorned into the twist guy.
Yeah,
because I think sometimes he makes a decent movie, and sometimes you're like, okay, this is a mess. You just don't know.
When it comes to Shyamalan, I mean, like when it legitimately for me, Shyamalan is either making the best movies ever or he's making the worst movies ever.
Yeah, I think that Signs is a fantastic movie. I know people argue that with me all the time, but I think Signs is great.
So, I mean, like, the ones that I can think of off the top of my head, I love, Sixth Sense, of course. Unbreakable is probably his best movie.
And it's one of the ones I haven't seen. And I know people freak out when I say that.
Really? Okay. But yeah, I love Signs. The Visit was hilarious. I love that one.
Is that the one with the grandparents?
Would you climb into the oven to clean it for me?
Please.
And then Split was fantastic. I hated Glass. And I did not see Old. But I heard that was good.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah,
what are your feelings on The Last Airbender?
My thoughts on the Avatar film are I love it. In fact, the sequel was even better.
Mm-hmm.
Way of Water is just so much better. Oh, you mean the other one?
Yeah. All right. I tried to watch the riff track of that. I only got about 20 minutes. I was like, I can't do this.
No, it's my thoughts on The Last Airbender. I think Dragon Ball Evolution is a better movie than that.
Yeah, and what's weird is they're doing is it a Netflix show, I think?
Yes.
And the creators have walked away from yeah, we don't want any part of this. So that that's gonna be a train wreck. So
yeah, which is unfortunate because we're getting new Avatar stories as well, because we're getting a movie based on like an animated movie based off of Team Avatar all grown up.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And we're getting a new show based on the Earthbender Avatar after Korra.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. I never did watch Korra, so
I only watched the first season of Korra. I'll probably go to it eventually, but the first season just did not hook me.
Yeah. Yeah, if you have not seen the original Avatar: The Last Airbender cartoon, highly recommend it. It's fantastic.
Yes.
All right, next a little movie, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. We don't care about that.
I've
And
never heard of it.
yeah, no. This is a movie we've been waiting 5 years for. It's been a while.
I would
Um,
probably say since Endgame, because like we knew that the Guardians were going to show up in Infinity War and Endgame. So it, for all intents and purposes, this is kind of the sequel to Endgame.
and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 had that teaser scene where the cocoon is opening and she's like, "Oh, it's Adam." And
Yep. We'll
I'm
name him
I'm
Adam.
still waiting. So yeah, this has been a very long wait. I'm a huge Adam Warlock fan. Um so it's almost here.
You
I'm
know
very
what?
excited.
Who would have thought that Eustace Scrub would have had a glow up and be Adam Warlock?
Yeah, it was not the casting I would have went with, but once you see him, you're like, you know what? I could see it. So
Yeah.
what's his name? William Poulter, is that his name?
Will Poulter, yeah.
Will Poulter, yeah. Um
Yeah, he's great in everything I see him in, but I've really only seen him in funny roles. Like even Eustace in Narnia, he was a funny character.
I have not seen him in anything. So
Okay.
I've just seen the memes of him.
Yeah,
So
and so he's great in We're the Millers too. Wait, you guys are
yeah.
getting paid?
Yeah. This movie is, I already know it's gonna be a tearjerker. The trailer they showed at D23 that was not released to the internet played the Flaming Lip song. Do you realize? Basically say that we're all gonna die.
That's the thing, is like I would not be surprised if everyone died in this movie.
I don't. I think we're gonna get two major deaths. I think, and then I
You
think
think
you're
it's going to be
gonna
Rocket and Star-Lord?
no. I think it's gonna be Drax and Star Lord. I think that, and then from there you can split the movie off into two franchises. You can have the Rocket Groot movies, and you can have the Warlock and Infinity Watch movies, where he takes the rest of the remaining Guardians, forms a new team.
You know what? Honestly, I think I'm gonna go ahead and say I think everyone dies except for Gamora and Adam Warlock, and then Adam Warlock and Gamora go off and make Infinity Watch, and that leads into an Annihilation movie.
You know what? I kind of like that because then you just throw in Pip the Troll and it's the classic three.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. I think Mantis still has a lot more story to go.
Maybe.
I could see Nebula dying to save Gamora. That would be a
Yes.
nice end to her character, which is sad though because I love Nebula. I think she's probably the best character in these movies.
Which is weird because I didn't feel that way initially.
Right, and also her character was I don't know how she is now, but she was terrible in the comics. She was such a I'm Thanos' granddaughter, just not a great character, and part of it's James Gunn writing, but it's also Karen Gillian has done such a great performance.
Mm-hmm.
And I love Karen Gillian. She's so good in anything she's in. So
I loved her in the Jumanji movie.
oh yeah, she's great.
I never saw the second one, but that first one surprised me. Like
I haven't seen the second one either. But yeah.
I still think "How is strength my weakness" is one of the funniest lines in any comedy.
Yeah. So these Guardians 3 is probably the movie I'm anticipating the most of the whole year.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait, and this will be James Gunn's swan song before he goes to DC. Or I guess he's already at DC, but this is his
Think
final
about this.
Marvel work.
In the same year, he's ending the MCU and the DCU.
Yeah, I mean, basically, because after this point, there's like two things with Marvel I care about, maybe, and that's Daredevil and Deadpool 3.
I'm interested in what they got going on with Spider-Man.
I was gonna say if they announce a new Spider-Man movie, I'm there, but everything else sounds terrible. Sounds like we're very much going in the Young Avengers direction, and I'm not a big Young Avengers guy. and then you've got a Thunderbolts lineup I don't care about, and
It's the funniest lineup ever.
and then we are supposedly getting Fantastic Four. We're supposedly getting X-Men, but I feel like those should be out this year or even last year. They have taken way too long to get those out the door.
I mean, I don't even care anymore. That's the problem.
They have hit a wall where it's like it's going to be at least 3 or 4 years before you even see the X-Men, and I just don't care anymore.
Like,
I feel like they're trying to get to Secret Wars to wipe out the Fox universe once and for all, and so they can restart it. But it's like you're taking way too long.
yeah.
And I know part of that is the pandemic screwed everything up, but you're taking way too long, and you're putting out so much TV shows that I don't want to see, and so many characters I don't care about, and holding off on these major characters. It's really dumb.
Yep. And I honestly, I wouldn't blame the pandemic because, if anything, I think we all needed a year without Marvel.
Yeah, they really should have. When that happened, they should have scrapped all their plans and said, "Look, we lost a year. We're going to scrap these movies and move on." Because you saw, I mean, Blade has basically been scrapped at this point,
which is unfortunate.
It'll eventually come out, but it's not when they were playing on it. You know,
I mean, Blade wasn't in their plans to begin with. Blade was Mahershala Ali saying, "Hey, I want to do Blade." And then Kevin Feige said, "Sure, Academy Award winner Mahershala Ali, you can have whatever you want."
Sure, star of Alita Battle Angel, you can do whatever you want.
Honestly, that's funny that's the movie you went with.
All right.
Moonlight, never heard of it.
Next on the list, Fast X. I'm not a Fast and Furious guy.
I am, and I'm kind of in. So this is like John Wick, but I expect it to be mediocre, and I am okay with that. Like I will watch Fast and Furious. They are fun, and I expect nothing groundbreaking.
Yeah, and I mean this is the 10th film. I don't even know who's in this one.
Vin Diesel.
Vin Diesel.
I think Cody Walker is coming in to replace Paul Walker as Brian, which would be cool because we really haven't had Brian in a while because of Paul Walker's untimely death.
Yeah,
but it's cool for his brother to come in and kind of take up that role.
Yeah. All right. That's about all I gotta say on that. And do you have anything to say with Little Mermaid? I do not care.
I mean, I'm not racist, so I'll say that.
I think this will be a bigger hit than we're thinking because of the music, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, it has. Give me one live action Disney remake that's been good. Like, exactly.
I mean, I haven't seen Jungle Book, but I hear people like it. I haven't seen it though. I haven't seen any of them. That's the thing. I saw the original. I'm good.
Well, I haven't seen any of them either. I just go off what my parents say because they watch all of them, and I don't know. They hate all of them, so I don't know why they keep watching them.
The one I am dreading is the Lilo and Stitch live action they're making. I can't imagine what that's going to look like. It's going to be a.
I had no idea.
I mean, we saw Pinocchio. They tried to do like a cartoon accurate Pinocchio. So I don't know if they go that route, maybe. But if they go like a real looking alien, it's going to be a mess.
I mean, so you know what I can imagine though? I don't the big guy who's got like the head of a whale or whatever.
You talking about Gantu or
shark
guy? Yeah,
the big guy.
Yeah,
that's Dwayne the Rock Johnson right there.
I thought you were gonna say Batista, but yeah.
Well, Dwayne the Rock Johnson's actually from Hawaii, so yeah. I don't know. Is Batista from Hawaii?
I have no idea, but I just think Batista's in everything, so he'll be Gantu and Jumba and Lilo. He'll be all of them. All right, moving on to something we actually do care about. Across the Spider-Verse Part 1.
So let's talk about the word care.
We are concerned.
Yes. This is a I care for this like I care for a family member who is in the hospital.
I'm not sure where it falls, but Into the Spider-Verse is either my favorite Spider-Man movie or it's my second favorite, depending on which day you ask me. It's way up there.
Yeah, it is solidly my second favorite. I just love Spider-Man 2 far too much.
And I wasn't talking about Spider-Man 2, I was talking about No Way Home. So yeah, one of those three is my favorite.
No Way Home is definitely my number 3.
Yeah. So I mean, this is way up there.
Yeah.
I don't know if it needed a sequel. I know they set it up at the end, but it's kind of like this was like a perfect movie. Just leave it alone. I mean, and I'm a huge Miguel O'Hara guy, so I really want to see Spider-Man 2099. But I'd almost rather them just make a Spider-Man 2099 movie and just
it's kind of looking like he's the bad guy in some instance, which is
I don't know. It's weird. I don't want him to be the bad guy. So I don't know.
I don't need this many Spider-Men in one movie.
It's a lot. Oh, it almost feels like this should be the third and final movie. Where it's just like, oh, here's everybody. You know, we're gonna end this anyways, and this is the third movie that nobody cares about. You know,
Yeah.
So, I'm concerned. I'm concerned that Peter B. Parker is just going to be like a cameo. He's in the trailer, but not much. And he's my favorite character. So
he's one of my favorite Spider-Man.
I mean, he is basically the Spider-Man that I was reading when I started reading comic books. During the Clone Saga, where Aunt May had died, MJ was expecting, and he was about to enter this new phase of his life, and then Marvel editorial said nope and shut it all down.
Yeah. Yep.
And that was when I stopped reading Spider-Man. So yeah. I am very cautiously optimistic that this might be good, but
I'm not even cautiously optimistic.
Bad.
I'm not cautiously optimistic. I'm just getting ready. I'm going in with low expectations, and if it surprises me, sure. But if not, I mean, it's kind of like, you know, whenever.
Okay. How's my connection right now? Is it okay?
What's that?
How is my connection right now? Am I coming in clear, or am I all robot?
I can understand you, but like you're definitely cutting in like every syllable.
Okay, so I will try to talk less.
Sure.
Next, we have Transformers: Rise of the Beast.
Now, this one, it's funny you said that you're going to talk less. I really don't have much to say about this one. I didn't see Bumblebee. And I am not a fan of Beast Wars in the slightest. So as far as me, the only thing that gets me going back that the main character is the main character from was the main actor from In the Heights, and I loved him in the Heights. And Optimus and Bumblebee look fantastic. They look exactly the way I want them to look. And I really hope that Mirage is not the main Transformer, because I don't want to have to listen to Pete Davidson's voice.
I almost feel like he is. I like Beast Wars. I have not seen Bumblebee either, although I hear it's fantastic. So again, this is one that could be great, or it could just be another one I never see. The Flash.
I don't care.
Okay, we'll move on. Ezra Miller's been a lot of drama, and we'll just move on. We don't have to talk about it. Indiana Jones and Dial of Destiny. To me,
I feel like this is them testing their deep fake technology to see if we can get Luke Skywalker in more movies.
Probably. I agree with
That's
that.
that's what this is to me. It's got a stupid name, but then again, I mean, they've kind of all been stupid names, so it's fun, I guess.
Uh, I,
But
I think Indiana Jones ended for me a Flash Crusade. It had a nice ending, and that's where I choose to live. So
hot hot take, Temple of Doom was also a horrible movie.
it's
but I
the
love
weak
but I
it,
love Short Round.
it's the weakest of the three, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
But I do love Short Round. Mission Impossible. We're back to John Wick. So Mission Impossible 2, bad movie. But oh man, have they not been hitting lately? Fallout is one of my favorite movies. I need to see Henry Cavill as more villains because he was phenomenal as John Lark. Um, and yeah, I mean, you got Mission Impossible, Tom Cruise. Haley Atwell is in this one. That's exciting. I have not seen her in anything other than the Captain America movies and that podcast that I listen to sometimes that she's on. I can't remember. It's about spies. I can't remember what it's called.
the only one I think I've seen is Ghost Protocol. So
Ghost Protocol is probably, you know what? Ghost Protocol is the Skyfall of the series. Because it's the one that's like the least connected over in terms of an overarching story, but it's the one that really hooked people and that everybody saw. Very much like Skyfall. And I mean, Ghost Protocol is a great movie. So, I mean, if you're going to only see one, that's not a bad one to see. But yeah, I'm excited. Speaking of excited, we need to talk about our next Oscar bait movie. Which is Barbie.
this is my WTF movie. I don't know what we're going to get. It could be
I know exactly WTF. I know exactly WTF.
I don't know if it's gonna be like Garbage Pail Kids bad, or what exactly how, or this is gonna be amazing. I don't know.
I think this movie is going to be secretly brilliant. I am
hope so.
ready.
I hope so.
You know what? You guys got suit and ties and got all gussied up, made a day out of it for the Minions movie. Let's do it for Barbie. I'm ready. My blazer is. I'm gonna dust off my blazer. We're gonna make a day out of the Barbie movie. I am ready for it.
Next up, we have the Oppenheimer. I don't know why I put the, but it looks interesting.
Yes, the man, the myth, the legend, the Oppenheimer. If anything, oh my gosh, you know what? Let's make it a double feature. We're gonna get all dressed up. We're gonna watch Barbie and Oppenheimer. A phenomenal brilliance. A great double feature. I guarantee you this will be the double feature at all of your local drive-ins that weekend.
And show it Oppenheimer first, and then Barbie. So the kids have to sit through Oppenheimer to get to Barbie. All right.
So I'm excited for Oppenheimer.
Next, we have the Marvels. I think this will be one of the lowest grossing Marvel movies they've had. I'm just going to call it.
Yes. Yeah, which is unfortunate because I like Monica Rambeau.
I do too.
And I haven't seen Miss Marvel yet. I do want to. She seems great. The actress, I mean, I just love her in interviews.
Mm-hmm.
It's just unfortunate that they have to share the screen with the person that everybody hates.
Yeah, and I know people say, well, Captain Marvel made $1 billion. And I was like, well, that's because of Endgame. That had nothing to do with the character or Brie Larson.
Yeah, Avatar made $2 billion. How about that? That's it. More news. Avatar: Way of Water is now the 6th movie to ever make $2 billion. In your face, haters. I love it.
In your face, Disney, who owns both movies. In your face.
In your face for making money. But yeah, Marvels will not make $2 billion. I can promise you that.
And if it does, I'll say this: if the Marvels makes $2 billion, I will quit this podcast. I'm done.
You'll. Oh man, you heard it. You heard it here first, folks. If
So
you want to shut this podcast down, go see the Marvels.
Do your part.
Do your part.
Put me out of my misery. All right. All right.
Turtles.
TMNT Mutant Mayhem.
First of all, I think this logo looks hilarious. It looks like a direct-to-video Scooby-Doo movie.
Yeah, I am one of the biggest Turtle fans. I don't know what to make of this.
Is this the Seth Rogen one?
This is the Seth Rogen one. We have not seen a trailer. There has been leaked concept art, and we will not be showing the concept art because they have been handing out copyright strikes like crazy lately.
You know what? Honestly, I almost want to put it out because if we get a copyright strike, that's like a badge of honor. That means that like Seth Rogen is watching us.
Yeah, it's yeah. I shared some of the concept art on my Facebook page, and I got copyright strikes on Facebook. So I don't know. It's not like
copyright striking Facebook.
Yeah, and I didn't even know that was a thing. So it's not like we're leaking the trailer or the movie. So it's kind of like I'm giving you free advertisement. Why are you giving me a copyright strike and just turning your fans against you? It doesn't. I don't get corporations, but I hope this movie is great. But I'm also not holding my breath. You never know if Ninja Turtles. They have rebooted Turtles so many times, and you just don't know if they're gonna really tap into something, or if this is just that
they have rebooted Ninja Turtles many times in the past 10 years. Like
yeah, since Nickelodeon has acquired them, they're trying a lot of different things. I think the 2012 series was the best since their attempts. You can argue the 2003 series is better, which hey, we might do that next week.
I will definitely argue that. Get ready.
Get ready for next week. Hint, hint. But yeah, so I need a trailer. I definitely need a trailer, and then I'll have a better opinion of what I think of this movie. Moving on, do we even need to talk about Blue Beetle?
I love Jaime. I'm sort of excited as long as this is a self-contained movie, but I
doesn't matter.
Don't expect to see. Yeah.
It doesn't matter. They will reboot everything. Yeah. I was thinking though,
you know what? It's the Cobra Kai kid, and I love.
Oh no, we lost Caleb. Come back, Caleb. I have no idea what happened there. He just dropped off the stream in mid-sentence. I think Thanos got him. So yeah, that was sad. He's gone. Oh wait, he's back.
I'm so passionate about the Blue Beetle, but I had to cool down.
Yeah, I said you got Thanos snapped, but you're back.
Yes, I mean it's the Cobra Kai kids, so that's another reason to be excited.
I was thinking you could have your Blue Beetle Jaime movies set in modern day, and then you could do Booster Gold movies set in the 80s with Ted Kord, Booster Gold, in the 80s with Ted Kord, Blue Beetle. You know, you could have them both.
Yeah.
I think that would be a lot of fun. But yeah, I hope this is good, but it also doesn't matter.
So. I mean, I think it matters in the sense that if people freaking love this movie, then we're guaranteed more Blue Beetle in the next universe.
Yeah.
So there's that at least.
And they're very much trying to make Blue Beetle their Spider-Man character.
You know, and in a sense, I think he can be. More so their Miles Morales Spider-Man. But I definitely think he has the potential to be their Spider-Man, which I am totally on board for. Of the DC movies coming out this year, this is the one I'm most excited for because I think this is the one that matters the most.
Yeah, I mean, people would argue the Flash because it has to do with the timelines, but yeah.
I don't think it's going to play into the reboot as much as people think it does.
Yeah, we'll see. All right. We've been going long, so I'm just kind of speeding through these.
Yeah.
Kraven the Hunter. I like Aaron. What's his name? Taylor.
Aaron Taylor. So you retract that. You didn't, and then you saw Bullet Train, and then you did.
Yeah.
I am on board with him as James Bond. As far as Kraven, I have no idea. It's Morbin time.
It's going to depend on the script with this one. So Dune Part 2.
I am excited for this. Here's the thing. I watched the first one. I was not a huge fan of it, but apparently that's because the stuff that it was adapting was like the first like 10th of the book that's all set up, and then Dune Part 2 is going to be the rest of the book and storytelling.
It's really the first half, but
okay.
But yeah, this is where the fun starts.
So and I have to believe because Denis Villeneuve has made two of my favorite films of all time, Arrival and Blade Runner 2049. And I watched Dune Part 1 and I'm like, it's missing something. And so I'm like, Part 2, please be good.
The first half of the book deals a lot with who's going to betray us, and they lost a lot of that in the movie. So I thought if they had just added a couple more lines to the film, it would have been better. But
if anything, I have decided that I don't know if you remember this. Do you remember back whenever The Dark Knight Rises came out? They had like those midnight premieres where like you watch Batman Begins and Dark Knight, and then at midnight you watch Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah.
If they do that with Dune Part 1 and then you immediately watch Dune Part 2, I'll probably watch it like that.
It would make sense.
I will. I sat through the Batman and Avatar Way of Water. I can watch a 4-hour movie.
Wonka, I don't know what to make of this without seeing a trailer.
Listen, Timothée Chalamet's got, he is, what's the name? Paul Atreides? Or
yeah.
And Willy Wonka. Man's got range.
And he also did that cannibal movie last year. What was it? The Lovely Bones or something?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
He got range, and honestly, let's bring him in. I feel like he is our Harry Osborn.
Are you a Wonka guy, and which Wonka do you prefer?
So I'm not super like I've watched them multiple times. For the most part, I actually like the remake better, but that's just because like the first movie is like, so it's like subconsciously creepy. The second one is just overtly creepy, and I'm kind of down with that.
But I think that's what makes the first one so genius is his he's downplaying. If you really listen to what he's saying, it's like, what? What are you saying over there?
No. Yeah, definitely. And honestly, it's been a while since I've seen either. So,
and I think Gene Wilder is just brilliant in that movie.
Oh yeah.
So I definitely have to go with the classic one. Tim Burton is more hit or miss with his newer movies with me.
Who's doing this one?
I don't know.
Oh, you know what? I'm gonna look at this because I have no idea. I will say that I love Wonka brand candy. Director Paul King, Paddington. Okay.
Oh, so this might be good. I haven't seen Paddington 2, but Paddington 1 was wonderful.
And Paddington 2 apparently has the highest average on Rotten Tomatoes of any movie ever. So there's that too.
Yeah. Ghostbusters Afterlife 2. I don't even know what they're going to call this one.
Afterlife.
Yeah. Maybe it'd probably like Return to New York or something.
I actually did not see Afterlife.
I loved Afterlife, but I'm a huge Ghostbusters fan. So
So I believe I may have talked about this before. When it comes to Ghostbusters, I'm not. To me, Ghostbusters was a movie, not a franchise. I recognize that it is a franchise, but I mean, to me, Ghostbusters is akin to Caddyshack. Like, there's no Caddyshack franchise. Um, I
I
I
I
will
grew up
say,
watching the cartoon, so to
sure,
me
yeah,
it is a major franchise in my head.
yeah. I did love that game that they came out with back in like 2008 or something.
Yeah.
I didn't play the remake, but that game back in the day was cool, and I thought it was cool that like the next gen version was a sequel to the movies, and then the Wii version was a sequel to the show. That was fun.
Yeah. The Ghostbusters cartoon has some really messed up episodes.
Okay.
It's like I can't. Yeah, I've gone back and watched some recently, and I'm like, I was watching this as a child. This is dark.
Like that's just 80s films in a nutshell. Like
Yeah,
not 80s films, but 80s cartoon. Well, 80s films too. Yeah,
yeah.
but
Everything
it's
had
like,
teeth back then. Now everything's been neutered, and it's kind of like, yeah,
hey kids, let's watch the RoboCop show, and don't forget to watch the movie.
right. Hey kids, we're selling Freddy Krueger dolls at your toy store. Yeah. So yeah, I'm very excited for this. There's rumors that all the originals are back again. I don't know if that's true.
I'm gonna go ahead and say no because Harold's kind of hard to get a hold of at this point.
You know what I meant,
I
but
know. I know.
I don't want to give away what happened in the last movie. But they
I've seen it. I've seen
yeah,
that part. I mean, like I even out of context, it was touching.
it was very touching.
I didn't hear anything about oh, I feel so bad. I can't think of his name. And
Rick
I
Moranis,
no of the original four.
Bill Murray, Ernie
Nope.
Hudson,
Ernie Hudson.
Dan Aykroyd.
Yep.
What about Ernie?
I have not. I've only heard about Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd come back. I didn't hear anything about Ernie Hudson coming back for this one.
I heard very early on that he was coming back
Oh,
because
okay.
if you watch the after credit scene, it's very Winston heavy, so it would make sense for him to come back in the sequel.
So I've actually only ever seen the first one ever, and Winston is just a character that they kind of added as a fourth guy. Does he come into his own?
Ghostbusters 2, he's very much still the if we need something done, we'll go get the fourth guy to do it. But the cartoon, he really shines in the cartoon. So I'm hoping in this next movie that he'll really get the spotlight. He deserves it. Winston's a great character.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, well, something else I was going to say about Ghostbusters that slipped my mind. But yeah, very excited for this. And I really think they could really branch out in a lot of different directions with where to go next with Ghostbusters. Lastly, a movie I did see the first one. I don't care, but Aquaman: The Lost Kingdom. Anything you want to say?
I think I care less about this one than Shazam.
Okay.
And you know what though? I'm interested in this because I want to see Amber Heard's acting amidst the trial. Like this was filming like during those litigations. I want to see her acting during that.
And I'll be curious how much of her they keep in the film, how much they cut. It'll be interesting.
I'll be curious how much of Jason Momoa they keep in the film, or perhaps throughout the film he is slowly becoming Lobo. Like that's what the movie's about. Is like this is the plot twist. This is actually the first movie in the new James Gunn universe, and Aquaman is cursed and slowly becomes the main man.
Yeah, there are lots and lots of rumors about him being Lobo. like there were some new rumors this week. So I think that's probably going to happen.
So that I'm actually kind of down with. As far as I'm cool with it as long as our next Aquaman is not the Peter David Aquaman. I love Peter David's Aquaman, absolutely. And I thought Momoa was great for that. But if we're going to be replacing Momoa, I'd rather go classic than go back to Peter David's like gruff Aquaman.
Yep. I agree 100%. So there's a look at our films of 2023. Let us know which ones you're excited about or which ones we left off the list. We did skip some of these, but yeah, it looks like we got some decent movies in here.
Yeah.
I think some of these will surprise us. So next week, we've been teasing for a while that we're going to do a Ninja Turtle show. It's going to happen next week. We are going to take a look at all the different reboots of the TMNT, the different eras, and we're going to pick which one we think is the best. And I don't think we quite align on this. So this will be an interesting debate on what we think is the absolute best. So
the epitome of Turtles is, yeah, I am firm on what I think the epitome of Turtles is. And I think there's a chance that you agree, but for you, it's not as concrete.
I think there's 4 turtle properties that could fight for number 1 in my head. So I'll leave it.
There are definitely 3 for me.
Yeah,
but it's definitely the one. The other 2 are fighting for second.
Yeah. Speaking of which, if you haven't seen the original Turtle movie lately, go watch it. It's amazing.
It's my favorite. I love it.
Yeah. So there's a hint of one of the top ranked ones is going to be.
We quote it all the time with me and my friends. We're like, "You're 2 minutes late, dude. Wise men say forgiveness is divine, but never pay full price for late pizza, dude."
That movie it's my favorite joke in the movie is Casey Jones when they go into the sewers and he's not happy and they're like, "I think you're a little claustrophobic," and he's like, "What? I've never looked at another dude."
Yeah, I've never looked at another dude. Yeah, it's pretty funny. I'm gonna go sleep in the truck, you know.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think the way Shredder dies is hilarious. Oops.
Sorry. Yeah.
Actually, no, my favorite, and we should be saving this for next week, but my favorite line actually involves so fun fact, Sam Rockwell's in that movie.
Yes.
And he's like I can't remember his name, but essentially Hun, he's down and in the boxes and Casey beat him, and Sam Rockwell's like, we're family. And then Casey is like, what, you call this right here and that right over there? Points at Tatsu. He's like, but that over there, family. It's just great. That thing right there.
Poor Tatsu.
But yes, Sam Rockwell is in that movie, and it's so funny to see him because, it barely looks like him.
Yeah, it's great. He has a classic line: menthol, non-menthol.
You got any smokes? Regular or menthol?
Yeah.
It's great. It's great.
Yeah. So we will be talking about this next week. We won't cover every era because the list I just brought up said there's 35 different eras. So that's a lot.
Yeah. So we're gonna bring up the major stuff.
Yes.
Mirage, IDW, the 2003 show, the 80s show, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Your major stuff.
Yeah. So join us next week. Tell your friends and share the live stream. Hit the like button, all that YouTube stuff you're supposed to do. And until next week, I've been Final Monkey.
And I'm Caleb.
And we will see you next time. Bye.
See ya.